Hello everyone, welcome to CADD Nest. And also, I welcome you all for Teacher's Tip. And I'm Pavitra. In this video, I'm back with another tip for the day. So guess the tip? The tip is all about how do you create a Google Forms to conduct a quiz, survey, and utilize that in your online classes to allot the test for the students and make your work simpler. So let's get into that. Get into your Google Chrome and search as Google Forms. So out of this, you have to select the link which is consisting as Google Forms free online surveys for personal use. So in this, we'll create our forms, guys. So out of this, have spoke on DOS and a very small tool that you can utilize in the DOS, and the link of this will be given in the description. Kindly check through that. And next is forms I'm talking all about. Have to go to Google Forms and start creating my Google Forms. So here we have various templates that we can utilize to create our Google Forms. You can choose any one of them and start creating your forms. By now, I'll get into a blank and show you how you can utilize this to create your own Google Form according to your own requirement. Here, untitled form. I'll name this as CADD Nest. If you want to give any of the description, you can give the descriptions also. I'll give a descriptions here. Have titled this form, and you can also give a description to that. I'll get into the next form, and assume you have to give a logo of your company. All you have to do is get into add image, and here you can upload it. It might be through the camera, by URL, photos, drive, or images. Now I'll go for browse and choose it out of my PCs. I'll select this logo PNG and open. So this will get loaded into my Google form. And before that, here I have untitled question and option. I don't want this form, so you can always go for deleting it. So next, if you want to give an image to that or image title, you can give that also. As of now, I don't have to give anything. I'll just skip that form. And to add one more question in your form, all you have to do is go for add question. It will give you a subsection. So here I'll write it down as a name. So as soon as I write down as name, the Google is auto giving me the answer as short answer text, which means the person can fill their name in a short answer form. And if this answer is to be mandatorily answered, what you have to do is go for marking this as required, which means the person who is responding your form cannot go for skipping this question without answering. Now I'll go for the next option. Here I'll go for asking them to write down their email. Again, it autocorrects into the short answer. And as this field is required, I'll mark this as required itself. And again, the next question, here I'll ask them for the contact number. Again, it takes the short answers. If you want to give a paragraph answers, you have that option as well. You can give them the paragraph answers. And if this is mandatory to be answered, you can just mark it. And I'll add the question and we'll begin with the exact thing. Multiple scrolls that we can work on the Google form. We'll see them one after the other. So here, import question, which means if you want to import them out of the previously prepared Google forms, you can go for importing it. As of now, I don't have any of the questions. I'll go for skipping this. From here, I'll start with the actual questions for the students. Example, activity question starts from here. I'll go for add. Here I have various options that I can choose. I'll go with multiple choice, wherein I can give multiple choices. You can choose the right one out of it. Go for add option. And add option. And add option. So if you want them to mandatorily answer, mark this. Or if you want to take down the copy, see for example you have the same options, but you have to change only the question. Then you'll just go for duplicate it, and out of this I can just change the question for the same multiple choice questions here. Done. And I'll go for adding one more question here. For this, I can give them the option through inserting the pictures as well. Browse and select the picture. This is my option number 1. Have to add a second option. Again, I have to go for this pictures and select the picture which I have to insert here. Then add option, image, browse, select. So to add one more question, I'll go for add. You can also use certain videographs into this and ask the students to select the right one that you want to choose them into. So go for the video section. It will take you into the YouTube URL. You can go for giving them the YouTube URL if you have any. So all you have to do is go for the add tab and out of this select the YouTube. In the YouTube I can select the one which I have to insert that into my Google form. So this is the one I have to insert into this. All you have to do is go for share and copy this URL. Come back to your Google form and paste this URL into this YouTube search engine and then go for search. Also, you can give it by the URL search here and go for selecting it so that it will get inserted into my options. And here I'll go for giving this a title for the video. So here I can suggest them. Above the videograph you can suggest the question and also the answer that they have to write there. Write the statement about the video and you can give them the answer called as paragraph so that they can list out all their paragraphs answered. So they have to look into the suggestion of this video. If you want to mention it, you can write that down in the tab. Good to go. To add one more question, we'll go for add. Languages you can read. I'll go with checkbox here. Why checkbox? In the sense I want them to answer the multiple answers, not only the one answer for one question. That is why we will use checkbox here. Go for add option. If you want to add other, you can go for add other. You can ask them to write down the list of options and you can give them a space to write any other information related to this question. Other. So that's it. So this way you can use title and descriptions, image, videographs, or you can import the questions from. So this is how you create the forms. And later to this, you can apply different themes for your Google Forms. We'll go for themes. You can choose the color that you have to use as a background and also a background color. If you want to keep it constant into white, you can keep it constant. Or if you want to specify a color, you can specify. For the headers, if you want to choose an image instead of inserting that over here, you can also choose an image and go for uploading that. I'll go for upload and browse. Instead of that, we'll choose it from the themes. And then as a font style, you have various font style options available here. You can change any one of the font style, but the reader or the users may find it difficult to answer. So always keep it basic so that it will be easy for them to read and answer your questions. In this more, we'll go for having multiple options. If you want to make a copy, you can make. If you want to move to trash or get a pre-filled link, you can do that and you can share it to your friends, families or students, anybody. If you want to take a printout, you can do that also. If you want to add collaborators, it might be like if you have multiple team members, if you want to derive the answers into everybody's mail ID, you can do that also. And also we have script editors. You can go for script editors. So this is not for us, wherein you can change the usage or change the overall look of your forms. I'll just go back. So next to this, in the settings, I can make certain changes. Like if you want to collect the emails, you can collect the emails, and response receipts, if you want to collect, you can collect the response receipts also. Like if responded, request it, or always. So whenever, so it is left to your choice. Based on that, you can choose this and limit to one response. If you don't want them to fill in the multiple options, you can go for limiting it into the one response only, which means one person can write down the forms only for once. And edit after submit. If you want to edit the data that they have filled, you can enable this. If not required. And see summary chart and text response. Like if you are on a survey basis, if you want to look into the data in a chat format, you can enable this option. If not, this is not required. In the next is of presentations, like show progress bar. If you want to go for applying that, you can do, or if you want to shuffle the question in order, just like your college does for the questions of each and every student. Or show link to submit another response. This will not be active just because in the general have limited the response to 1. And the next is quiz. So mark this a quiz, and then immediately after submissions, like immediately after the submissions, if you want to get to know your response, you can give that also. If you want to allow the respondents to see the missed questions, correct answer or point value, you can enable this option, or else you can restrict this also. No issues. And then save this. So if you want to see a preview, or you can go for this eyeball. So it takes you into a preview here, and you can also fill this form. So your name, contact numbers, email ID, or this is an activity questions. I can choose between the options. And the next question I have here, again, by looking at this videograph, I can answer the next question also. So then send me a copy of my response. If you want to look into your answers, whatever you have written, you can enable this also, and then submit. You are good to go. So once you submit the answer, here in the Google form, you will get the responses, like you'll get a number of responses here. You can look into that. If you want to export all these responses into the worksheet or Excel sheet, you can export that over here as create spreadsheet. So the information will get into your spreadsheet. That I'll discuss in my next class. Thanks for watching. See you again. Bye.